So good afternoon to all my dear friends. Today I will be taking a tutorial on designing of CMOS differential amplifier or CMOS operational amplifier using LT Spice and then simulating it. So we have been provided an amplifier with certain specification and configuration, and using LT Spice software and our calculations, and also by applying our brains, we will try to design it. So let's begin. This is the folder which contains all the files and all the work which I have done. So let's open it. You see. So guys, this is the design of differential amplifier. This is the differential amplifier. This M1, M2, M3 and M4, these are the PMOSes. M3, M4 are PMOSes. M1 and M2 are NMOS, and this is the obviously this ISS we replace by a current source, and then we mirror it, and this is I naught. So this is quite simple, right? And we take the output from one end. So we don't take the output from both the points like here and here. We take the output from here itself, and how all the theory works, and what are the design constraints, design variations and fluctuations. Everything I have done a literature survey of it. You can refer to it. I will be attaching the PDF literature survey from the lectures of Razavi online. Okay, and I don't think that any research paper would be covering anything more than what Razavi sir has taught. So that would be more than enough for you. And this is the CL. This is the load capacitance, the value of which I am going to tell you now. You see. So we are basically, guys, trying to design a differential amplifier having following configuration. Like it should have slew rate of 5 volt per microsecond. The gain bandwidth product should be greater than or equal to 5 megahertz. The voltage gain should be 40 dB, or in a normal scale it should be greater than 100. CL should be 10 picofarad. Power dissipation should be less than 0.3 milliwatt. ICMR plus should be 1.8 or 1.6, and ICMR minus should be 0.8 volt. Okay, so for designing, what all you need to know, like if some customer has given you these configurations, what all you need to, and also we will be using 180 nanometer TSMC model file. Okay. So what else you need? You have a capacitor which with the value given as 10 picofarad, right? And you will be needing the omega by L ratio, aspect ratio of M3 transistor, M4 transistor, M1, M2, M5 and M8. After you know that, then it is quite easy, right? You will be able to draw the schematic in LT Spice, and then you will be able to simulate it. First you will do the simulation of transient analysis, and second will be the AC response, frequency analysis. Yeah. So let me show you what actually I have done is, like for Cadence software, you don't have to worry, because that's already taught in the class, and you have Hafiz KT video YouTube channel. From there you can go and watch the tutorial, and it is very much understandable. But in the net I was not able to find the design of CMOS differential amplifier using LT Spice, so that was a very much challenging thing. But luckily I, with my help of friend Sonal, we tried to simulate it, and we are getting very good amplifier. Okay, so let's begin. So this is the calculation, guys. This is the calculation page of what first we need to do the calculation, right? So slew rate is given as 5 volt per microsecond. So slew rate is basically defined as maximum rate of change of output voltage. So dV out by dt max. So it finally comes, this I naught comes out to be 50 microampere. So let me open the LT Spice also now, then it will be more convenient to you. Yeah, see, file, open, uh, single stage open. Yeah. So guys, you see I've already drawn the schematic in LT Spice. M1, M3, M4, M1, M2, M5 and M6. These are the transistors which I have taken. But before proceeding forward, we need to supply the values of omega by L, aspect ratio, for all the transistors, and only then we will going to achieve the sum graph, right? So here it is. You see this is I naught, so this will also be I naught, because it is current mirror. And if this is I naught, then equally the current will be distributed. Like this half circuit will be having I1 equal to I1 or I3 equal to 25 microampere, and this half circuit will be having I4 and I2 equal to 25 microampere. These both sum up to give an overall current I1 plus I2 equal to 50 microampere, right? So let's begin. So this much is clear, I think. Nah. So after that, we like as in cadence virtuoso, we calculate the values of Vt naught and the operating point and all the capacitances, everything by doing some simulation. But here LT Spice that is not possible. So we will be opening the library file, and from that library file we will be noting down all the values. So let's open it. For that, you just simply right click on this LT Spice icon in your desktop. Go to properties, open file location, then inside the file location go to library. In the library you will find one folder called sub. Inside sub directory there will be a file. I think you have added already in your laptops. If you have followed my previous tutorials, then you must have added. So there will be a file tsmc018.lib. So you just simply open it in WordPad or Notepad. Now you can see that dot model CMOS and NMOS. So here you are going to get all the values, like it is having TOX equal to 4.1 into 10 raised to power minus 9. It is having mu naught equal to 273.809. It is having threshold voltage at 0.3666. So you just note down. So similarly for PMOS also you note down. It is having TOX given here, VT naught minus something, and mu naught of, obviously the mobility has to be lower because it is PMOS, so the mobility of holes is lower than that. So it is having 115. So after you will note down all these values, you come to you actually you also do the calculations, because then you will be having a very good idea of what actually I'm doing. So what we are interested to find the current. First we are interested to find the current through, no, current is already given, right? Current is already given, okay. So if somehow or the other, if we are going to give this value of voltage Vx, then we could do some manipulation and we can proceed forward, right? So one thing more, guys, like if you want your op-amp to function effectively, then your op-amp or differential amplifier should have all the MOSFETs in saturation region, because in saturation it provides a steady current and therefore gain is constant. But when it goes in linear region, then transconductance varies, meaning to say that when you decrease the voltage, then the transconductance also reduces. So it makes a circuit very unstable because gain is varying. So all the MOSFETs should be in saturation. So for this M1 to be saturated, I assume that you know it this very well, that VDS1 should be greater than VGS1 minus VT1. Okay, so source is grounded, so VD should be greater than VG minus VT1. So ultimately VX should be greater than VIN minus 0.366. And what is the ICMR plus by value? What is the maximum input voltage? See, ICMR plus is what ICMR plus is the maximum input voltage which can be applied to an NMOS so that it remains in saturation region. Because if it goes in linear region, then we will be facing difficulty, right? So uh, Vx should be greater than 1.238 volt, because this Vx should be greater than 1.23 volt. So we are assuming it Vx to be 1.3. Okay, and using all the values, you see I have calculated COX for NMOS, PMOS, mu and C1. This is quite easy. So let's come. You look over here. What is the current through I3? I3 is, because it is saturated. Why it is saturated? Because the gate and drain terminals are tied, right? So I3, the current through third transistor, is equal to mu p COX by 2 omega by L3 VSG minus VT whole square. What is VSG? VSG is 1.8 minus VSG is 1.8 minus Vx. So it is 0.5. Okay. You see this, this is saturated, so gate and drain terminals are same. So VSG is equal to VSD, same thing, right? So there is no difference of it. So once you perform the calculation, you put I3 is equal to 25 microamperes. You put all the values. One unknown you are having, that is omega by L3, and VSG minus VT plus VTP is minus 0.3906, which we got from the library file. So ultimately the aspect ratio for M3, it comes out to be 48. So aspect ratio of M3 and M4 should be equal. Again, it is a question of theory. You go and refer the literature survey and you will understand. So first step is done. We got the aspect ratio of M3 and M4 transistor. Next, for determining the gain, the aspect ratio of M1 and M2, we need the gain bandwidth product. It is clearly given that the gain bandwidth product is greater than 5 megahertz, right? 5 megahertz, and so gain transconductance of 1 and 2 transistor comes out to be 314.16 micro. How this is coming, let me show you. It is it is in this one I will show you how that this it is coming 314. You see, when I draw the small signal model of the M1 transistor, so finally I am getting V out by V in equal to minus GM R02 parallel with R04. Actually I am drawing the small signal model of M2 and M4 transistor. So that is same as M1 and M3 because they are same. So I am getting that this gain as this. So DC gain comes out to be GM into R02 parallel with R04, and the pole value of pole is minus 1 by R02 parallel with R04 into CL. So finally the gain bandwidth product, how much it is coming? Transconductance divided by capacitance. And what is the value of capacitance? It is 10 picofarad. So when I put the values, and the gain bandwidth product is 5 megahertz or greater than that, so I get the transconductance equal to 314.16 micro, whatever the units may be. So also guys, the value of transconductance is GM is equal to under root 2 ID mu n su x omega by L, and omega by L 1 here. So when I put all the values over here guys, so I am getting omega by L's value equal to 8.69672. So finally omega by L of 1 and 2 transistor comes out to be 9. Now lastly we are left with the aspect ratio of fifth transistor and sixth transistor. So that is also very easy. Let me show you. I am drawing a part of the circuit, like this is M1 circuit and this is the M5 circuit. So you see V in here we will be using ICMR minus. You see V in is clearly equal to VGS1 plus VD sat. Now if all the transistors should be saturated, so in saturation VD sat, it should be the voltage across here is VD sat, and VD sat is VGS minus VT, that you know from the device physics, right? So ultimately V in is equal to VGS1 plus VD sat, right? And V in is how much? ICMR minus, that is 0.8. And VGS1 how we'll find? That is very easy. The current through this M1 transistor, how much it is? The current through M1 transistor is simply 25 microampere, 25 from this side and 25 from this side. The whole adds up and it gives 50 microampere, right? So I will be simply using 25 microampere is equal to mu n su x omega by L. We have calculated above. It comes to be 9 VGS1 minus VT ka whole square. So finally, when you do the calculation, the value of VGS1 comes out to be 0.522 volt. So finally, we put that in above equation and we get the VD sat value equal to 0.278 volt, right? So now having we got the VD sat value, you can see that ID5, the current through the fifth MOSFET and MOS, is equal to un su x by 2 omega by L5 VGS minus VT, which is clearly equal to VD sat whole square. So when I put all the values guys, I am expecting the output of the value of omega by L5. So finally I get the value of omega by L5 equal to 5.696. So we assume it as 6. We assume the aspect ratio to be 6, right? So finally we are now having all the values of omega of aspect ratios of all the transistors. Like let me show you in the schematic. You see for M3 and M4 the value of omega by L was let me right click, you see 48. So I have taken width 48 and length as 1 micrometer. Similarly for this M4 also 48, and for this M1 and M2 it was 9, so I have taken 9 micrometer and 1 micrometer, and this also 9 and 1 micrometer. And remember one more thing, this substrate should be tied here to the ground, right? Because otherwise it will encounter body bias effects. You cannot tie it over here like to the source terminal, because below source also you are having NMOS, so you tie this one to ground. So this was the thing. And similarly for M5 I got the aspect ratio as 6. So after doing that, for this also you see, you right click on this and you see that I got it as 6. So after doing that, you just refer to my circuit, and you I think you will be very easily draw this circuit. And for input, this is the positive V plus, this is the V plus, input voltage positive, because this is a differential amplifier, so it will be having two inputs. So this is V1 and V2. So what we have done, you see that we need to supply some biasing voltage, right? For V1 and V2 to be in saturation region, we need to supply some biasing voltage. And we have seen from the question that the ICMR plus value is I think it is 1.8. So we cannot give a value anything biasing greater than 1.8, obviously, because this VDD is also 1.8. So we take any values lower than that. So this is the DC volt value. DC value is common to both the terminals. terminals like a plus and minus, and on top of DC value I am superimposing a sine waveform. So let me show you the sine waveform. You add source and you just connect in series, and for that sine waveform I have chosen this specification, like it is having DC offset 0, amplitude is 4 millivolt, and frequency is 1 kilohertz. And for second one everything is same, but here I am applying a phase shift of 180 degree, because if it is a differential amplifier and if I am giving a phase shift of 180 degree, then overall in the differential input which is given by V1 minus V2 by 2, so it will be added and it will be having a more positive effect, a regenerative effect, right? So let's see this one. You see, first we will be doing the transient analysis. So for transient analysis you just go edit command window, you go to transient. Here stop time, because the frequency is in kilohertz, so runtime should be in 1 by k, so it should be in milliseconds. So let's simulate for 10 milliseconds. So 10 m I am doing. Okay, now you just click on the run button. So when you guys you click on the run button, you are going to first see the output waveform. So you see you got the output waveform, then you take the input waveform from both the terminals, this and this. So you can clearly see guys, the input voltage is the amplitude is very much lower and the output voltage is very much higher. So clearly it is amplified, right? Now next I will show you what you have to do. You just simply add traces. No, wait a second. You just do add plot to plane. Then here you go to add traces. What is the differential voltage guys? V plus, yeah, minus V minus, and let me put bracket over here, V plus V minus and whole divided by 2. Okay, so you see clearly, you are able to see that I have applied the differential voltage is how much, 1.2 plus 4 millivolt sine of omega naught t. So when I am taking the differential output, so it is finally coming out as 4 millivolt. You see 0 to 4 millivolt, and the what is the swing of output voltage guys, that you can clearly do. I think you just take one, this one, you take this one. I think if it will be better if I remove these two. So let's cut it. So ultimately this is the input voltage guys, and this is the output voltage. This is a transient. What transient means, you must be very much familiar with this. So let me also show you the what is the swing in the output waveform. So I will be taking this to the top. It comes out to be 1.6 or something, 647. Then again I will be taking one more thing, and I would be getting. So what is the difference I am getting? It is getting, I am getting difference of 878, yeah, 880, right? So if the difference is 880, let me show you in the calculator. So this is the calculator. So what is the if it 880, so 880 if I divide by 2, 880 if I divide by 2, so that will be the maximum amplitude of output waveform. So it is what is the amplitude of output waveform guys? It is 440 millivolt. And what is the amplitude of maximum amplitude of input waveform? It is 4 millivolt. So when I divide it, so I am getting it the gain as 110. So this is so finally we have designed this amplifier, because that's what we were expecting. We were expecting the gain should be larger than 100, and in logarithmic scale, if you want, I can also show log and multiplied by 20. So you can see guys that we are getting a gain of 40.82. So finally we have designed the amplifier. This is the transient analysis, right? Now let's next step, all the graph of this I have attached in the file which I will be sending you. Next step is the frequency response. So for frequency response, you have to go into edit simulation command. In AC analysis, you do the type of sweep decade, number of points you give it at as 100, start frequency you give as 10, and stop frequency you give as 20 megahertz. So 20 followed by 6 zeros, 1 2 3 4 5 6, yeah, 6 zeros. So this is the AC analysis you have done, but the AC analysis will not work guys unless and until you in one of the AC inputs you put the small signal analysis AC amplitude 1, because if you will not do, then the simulator will give you error message. So for any one of these what you can say sources, sine wave sources, yeah, voltages, you do AC1, because if you will do, then only it will work. So after doing that, you have to simply click on simulation. So you see I am clearly, let me remove this. Let me remove this for you. So I've removed this, yeah, and also delete this plane, delete this. Yeah, you can clearly see that I am getting this gain as somewhere 36.48, so it is very close to 40. So finally our design is complete. And next thing, this the lower one is for the phase response, so we are least concerned about that. And for verifying the gain bandwidth product, you should determine the value of in frequency where it comes the 0 dB line. So I will be maneuvering or this cursor lower and lower and lower and lower, and finally at 0 dB point, yeah, it comes out to be 5 megahertz. So finally we are successfully designed the amplifier. So thank you guys, and I hope you would have understood this tutorial. I made it, I tried to make it very simple so that you can all understand and digest. And I would be also attaching all the output waveforms as well as the literature survey and the calculations, so that you can verify in future. Thank you. And apart from this, I don't think anything more we have to do. So thank you guys.